Hey guys, what's up? My name's Czar, and in case you can't tell, I'm a bit of a nerd. How big of a nerd, you may ask? Well, the past few years I've gone to a comic book convention and 2 different anime conventions. And of course, me and my brothers are going again this year. That being said, I love making costumes. And over the past few years, I've tried to make a new costume for each convention. Now last year, I didn't vlog the convention I went to, Anime Midwest, but I did make a really cool costume for the Hyrule Warriors version of Link. So cool. Such a pain to wear that around the convention center, but I really enjoyed that. Now, you might be wondering why Digimon's going on behind me while I'm talking about this. And that's because Digimon is making such a huge comeback. I'm no stranger to Digimon. Pun very much intended. Digimon Story Time Stranger, of course, is the latest entry and what's kind of started this resurgence back into Digimon. But make no mistake, I might be a little younger than the typical millennial fan. I am very much an original fan of Digimon, thanks to my 2 older brothers. I remember playing Digimon World 3 way back in the day when I was a little kid. Now I have been able to go back and replay that game and make it all the way through the end. However, of course, we have several new Digimon RPGs. We've had Digimon Story Time Stranger, of course, but the previous entries, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. And so when I was sitting down to decide what costume I wanted to make this year, my first thought was Agent Yuki. I'm not really a fan of the jacket. Now I have seen it look really cool on other people. It's just not my favorite color. However, there was one Digimon protagonist that I really loved the costume of since day one of me playing the game. So much so that I never changed the costume once, despite having the option. And that is Keisuke Awazawa from Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. That hoodie jacket was so cool, and the first time I saw it, I wanted one. Had Bandai made an official jacket like that and sold it, they would have been printing money. Unfortunately, they never did, so I'm taking matters into my own hands. I went online, bought myself 10 yards of soft shell fabric, and I'm going to make that jacket myself. Because I want to be able to wear this outside of the costume. I do have some sewing experience, but not tons. So this will be an absolute test to my skills and my patience. This is going to take me a good long while, so I need to get started on it. First off, with the pattern. So I don't have a big enough table for this, so this is where we're going to be doing most of our work. Right here on the floor. With that out of the way, I looked online. Patterns for this specific type of knee-length jacket don't exist, right? Now I could just take a simple rain jacket pattern and modify it, but patterns can be kind of pricey sometimes. And I'm finding out that that price is kind of fair because making patterns is hard. Naturally, I am not talented enough to completely create my own pattern from scratch, but I did find several tutorials on how to make your own pattern from any piece of clothing you already own. So I took this jacket. It's really more of a zip-up sweater, but it fits me really well. It's not oversized. It's a nice slim fit, but it's not snug, which is exactly how I want this jacket to fit. And using a lot of masking tape to cover from seam to seam, I was able to make these 2 panels for the front shoulder and back shoulder so that I could have the almost exact measurements, down to the same curves and everything, of the finished panels on this jacket. Obviously I did not get the length because I was going to change the length anyway. So the important parts was getting the neck hole and the armholes, especially since, as you can tell pretty easily, they're quite a bit different sizes. Now that allows me to have better range of motion in the shoulders, which is not something I would have known to do myself. So I'm really glad that I'm tracing it off of an existing pattern. Now using those pieces, I was then able to trace it onto this piece of paper give it the length that it needs, because these need to be a knee-length jacket, right? So hopefully I now have a usable pattern. If this doesn't work, I'm actually gonna crash out a little bit, but that's why we have the mock-up fabric, because the soft shell fabric was very expensive, so I'd rather waste this than that. Rather not waste anything at all, though. Anyways, I'm procrastinating now. Let's get started. Behold my royal blue silk. Just kidding, it's polyester. Okay, so now I have my 3 panels done. The 2 front, 1 back. Haven't done sleeves yet. We'll get to there. Unfortunately, I do have to start getting ready here in a little bit, so I won't have time to sew them up tonight. They seem to be a little smaller than I thought they would be. Slightly worrying, but I added like a 1/2 inch of seam allowance, so it should be fine. I hope. Alright, we're finally getting back to this. I've had this pinned up for like weeks on end now. And I've just been too lazy to actually sew it together. So let's go ahead and sew this together, and hopefully it doesn't go all terribly wrong. Okay, we're trying it on. I don't know. I mean, it might be a little snug. The front isn't exactly straight, which is very odd to me. Which means I did mess up a little bit. See how that's like overlapping up top? It's not really supposed to be doing that, I don't think. I don't know if I can adjust this, or if I'm kind of gonna have to start over. And if I have to start over, I'm gonna be very deeply upset. But yeah, it's a little snug in the waist. Okay. Well, this is why we do mock-ups, right? Even though I was hoping I could get it right on the first try, you know. I need to think some things over, see if I can salvage this, or if I have to go back to the drawing board. Because if I have to go back to the drawing board, I'm going to be pretty upset. Alright folks, so this is just straight up not straight. And like, I checked the patterns that I have, and those were not straight. And it's probably because of the tape method that I was using to try to copy an existing pattern. This one is now just scrap, so that's always fun. Hey guys, Editors Art here, and I'm realizing I never explained my plan to you, so I'm going to explain that now. What you see me doing in these clips is another try at creating a pattern from that existing jacket. It fits so well, so it honestly just still seems like the best option I have. So this method has me using pins to poke through the seams to then create an outline on the paper below that I can then trace out to have an exact copy of the panels that are existing on the jacket. I knew this method existed before I started this project, and I did not want to do it because I thought it would take far too long. Well, now I've made a mistake, and this is taking me double as long. Hopefully this time around I get a usable pattern with a usable mock-up. After hours and hours and hours, I finally have what appears to be a straight mock-up this time. It actually looks like it should fit. And this time I also have a sleeve pattern. That took forever. I'm really tired now though. So we're again stopping at the same point where I just need to pin this together. And then hopefully just a couple of stitches later and I have a usable mock-up. I've been here once before and it didn't work out that way though, so that's why I'm a little skeptical. Okay, I have been on this floor for too long now. I do really need to get a table. Anyways, I'm gonna go pin this up. Yeah, okay, let's go. We're making some progress, boys. Now it's a very rough mock-up, all right? So obviously, like there's still a live edge here. Imagine there was a zipper there and a collar and a hood, but we've got a good length, you know? The sleeves are on. This one came out good. This one, I completely botched. I don't even know how I did it. It's inside out too, and yeah, I don't know what I did. That's a lie. I do know exactly how I did it. Easy fix. I was just being dumb. I can't wait to get started on the actual with the actual fabric, right? And make the actual one because I feel like I've got it. I've got this down. I'm gonna fix this first. Figure out the hood and pocket situation, but like once that's done, boom.
I understand it now.
Done. It's easy. I got this in the bag. Like, bro, look, I can do the dramatic walk away. Watch my cape billow in the wind. So hyped. I need to go to bed. I'm tired. Okay, so we're back on the floor, which is unfortunate because I do need to go to work in a little bit here. But I'm actually at the point where I think I can add the zipper now. I've added the collar. It looks terrible. I don't know what was happening. My machine was, the thread was bunching up in one spot. I'm not going to worry about it right now because it was, again, just a proof of concept. So at this point, I am pinning the zipper on. We're going to see if I can get that put on real quick before I have to go to work. Because that would actually be really cool because then this mock-up is basically done. Oh boy, I'm tired. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I've added the collar, I've added the zipper, and for reasons unknown to me, the machine kept bunching, so there is really bad looking seams right now. Right now I'm just trying to make sure I have the principles right of getting these things attached. That being said, now it's time to try it on, see how it looks more or less together. So, alright, obviously I do need to flatten the stitches still, but yeah, I don't know if is there enough room for me to walk back here for you to see the whole thing? Good gravy, this is a long zipper. Alright, let's see it. Let's see it zipped up so it hides the inner seams. I mean, I made a, if nothing else, functional jacket. It might not be pretty, but it's certainly, I mean, it's just all, this is just basic polyester, so it's like, I don't know, like a workout jacket. Yeah, pretty good range of motion. Nothing's tearing. Oh, this, I cut it by accident, so that's not a tear, that's something entirely different. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so I've got the concepts down. Again, I don't know why the machine was bunching up, so I have all this exposed stitching and whatnot. Even here, what's going on there? Well, one side came out well. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen like that. I don't know why that's loose. So that does kind of suck. But as a proof of concept, it works. I'm pretty happy. All right, I do need to get ready for work now, though. So I will see you guys later. Mock-up's basically done. I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable now to start on the actual fabric. According to the internet, soft shell fabric is not exactly the same process. Apparently it's a bit more finicky, and so they claim that I need to use clips instead of pins, that I need to make sure I have a very sharp needle, and that it's best to use a walking foot. So I just bought all of these. I don't know how much of a difference they'll make, so now I gotta figure out how to install those real quick. And then we'll do a couple of test stitches on some scrap fabric with the soft shell, just to get a feel for it, to see if it really is all that different like people say. These are all people that have more experience than me, so I'm inclined to believe them, but I would like to get a feel for myself. Okay, so I've got the walking foot installed, sharp needle, got a little swatches. Gonna clip them. Let's give it a try. If nothing else, the old college try, right? I didn't go to college. Hey, so that's not moving. As usual, I don't know what I'm doing. So I just found out that my feed dogs on the bottom of the sewing machine have just been lowered the entire time. And so the walking foot wasn't working because the feed dogs on the bottom weren't working either. So there was not friction there to pull the thing. I was still having to push it through the entire myself. Fix that problem, and now I have the most even stitches of my life. This would have made this whole process so much easier. But you know what? I found it. I fixed it now. This walking foot seems like it's going to be great. So yeah, the rest of this project, hopefully, I'm gonna regret saying this, but hopefully should go by really quick, really easy, as long as I remember how to do the things I've already done once. So yeah, good gravy. I'm an idiot. I'm just stupid. I already knew that, but like, come on. All right, so I've already got my panels cut out and everything, with the actual soft shell material. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually hem the sleeves, because I didn't do that on the mock-up, and then when I closed the sleeves realized I couldn't do it anymore. So that's going to be our first step here. Alright, unfortunately I did kind of, I got a little too close. I did kind of bunch up the fabric as I was going. The rest of it looks nice and good until you get to that one spot. So I'm going to have to take this apart, but I think it'll be fine. It's just the hem of the sleeve. If there's a little holes left afterwards, I'm not too worried about it. Because that's why people say don't use pins. It's because it'll leave a hole and you can still see it. And while they are visible, you gotta get up pretty close to really see it. So I'm not too worried about it. If I have to redo a stitch, it's not the end of the world, I don't think. So, alrighty folks, well, it's midnight, but here we are, because I am so close to getting this done. I had the panels, clipped them all together, and went, why stop there? And I just went, Neum. Probably should have recorded that, but I have it. So I have everything here except for the hood, and that is just because I don't actually have a pattern for the hood. I just kind of eyeballed it on the mock-up. But I do want to try this on because it looks really, really good. Like, look at these nice clean seams on the collar, the zipper. I'm really happy with this, and I haven't even tried it on yet. So let's do that. Oh yeah. Oh, I gotta trim that a little bit. Oh, this is so cool. I gotta back you guys up a little further so you can see the whole thing. I mean, come on. Come on. I made this with my own hands, bro. Sleeves actually look really, really good. I finally figured out how to do sleeves without bunching. Because again, I do want to be able to wear this outside of the costume. And I think I've accomplished something that I would feel comfortable wearing outside of the costume without people realizing that it's homemade, you know? I still need to hem the bottom and add the hood. But other than that, I'm actually very impressed with myself. I didn't think I'd be able to do it. I made some bold claims at the start of this project. I did it. I feel so cool wearing this though. And that's enough of a win for me, honestly. So I think it's done. I haven't looked yet. How's the back look now? Pretty good. I mean, I think there's like the tiniest bit of bunching, but I think only as much as that was absolutely necessary. Maybe that's the coat talking, but we're gonna try it on. And we're gonna see. Because if it's done, I'm him. Oh, I didn't even mean to just throw the hood on like that. That was so cool. Self-deploying hood. Got pockets. I guess I should take my hoodie off. I'm getting really hot already. That means the jacket's warm too, brother. But guys, I did it! Woo! If nothing else though, I successfully made a jacket where the hood doesn't just immediately get blown off by the wind. And for some reason, that's hard to find. And it'll actually keep my, thighs dry as well. Instead of just dumping all the water directly onto my lap. So that's pretty cool. I was debating on whether or not to put the hood at the top of the collar, like I did on my mock-up, or to put it on the bottom. So I was just kind of creeping on my friends today and staring at their clothes. Maybe that sounds weird. One of them had a nice soft shell jacket on with a hood, and so I was looking at how that was attached, and his wife was wearing a parka jacket. So that was kind of exactly the inspiration that I was needing for this jacket, because it's a parka length soft shell hooded jacket. So yeah, I was just analyzing their clothes as we were hanging out. Oops. But anyways, I decided, yeah, definitely putting it at the bottom of the collar. And that resulted in this hood just staying there. And that just kind of lends itself to the costume, I think, greatly. And also just, I don't know, how many times have you seen me put it on just by doing that? That's cool. That's a feature, not a bug, all right? Well, we're not exactly on the floor today. We're moving up a little bit. I got a nice little table here. The next step to finally be done with the jacket is to actually put the logo on the back that's supposed to be there. So, I've got a little template here of half the butterfly because, it's symmetrical, so I can just flip it over. And then the Hudie logo, the name, Hudie, and some HTV. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a Cricut machine, so I have to do this by hand. This HTV is supposed to work on polyester. I tried it a couple of times here with the soft shell fabric. It took several attempts, but I think I figured it out. The unfortunate part is that I'm not able to maintain a perfectly even heat and pressure. So I'm having to go over piece by piece and putting down as much pressure as I can. And it's pretty tiring, I'm not gonna lie. But according to the internet, that is the correct amount of force, is that I should have my entire body weight on it and my arms are shaking. So, I don't know. Alright, so we very rudely got interrupted by a tornado warning. Now that it's passed, I can keep working on this. So, have it all set to go, just need to peel the backers off. I'm not 100% sure that it's done, but we're gonna give it a go. We'll give it a peel. Maybe. Easy read, they claim. Alright, there we go. So I did scorch the jacket in a couple spots, unfortunately. So that is not ideal. I don't know that it's worth the trouble to actually put the name on here as well. I might just leave it at the butterfly and that's it. Let's try it on. Let's see how it looks. Fire. Yo! That's actually kind of perfect. You know what? I do like that. It's actually quite large. That might be too big. That might have been bigger than was necessary. Oh, it's off center. No. Oh, it's like not even close. Okay, so for better or worse, the jacket's done. It does really suck that it's off center, but that was the last thing I needed to do for the jacket anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and leave it there. I have successfully made Keisuke Amasawa's Hudie jacket from Digimon Story Hacker's Memory. That was a lot of fun to make the jacket. I do still need to make a few other components for the rest of the costume. But this video is already far too long, so that will be in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and something Digimon. I keep looking at the monitor instead of the lens. That is a newbie mistake if I've ever seen one, and I am way too experienced to be doing that.